Hi guys, welcome back to Dadlicious Eats, and today we're going to do some baking. So over the weekend I wanted to make a cake. I thought it would be a great activity for the children to help out with, and I decided to make a cherry cake. So this cherry cake costs well under £5 to make. It's absolutely delicious, far tastier than anything you'll buy at the supermarket. So for this we want 175 grams of unsalted butter, half a teaspoon of salt, 200 grams of self-raising flour, 50 grams of ground almonds, 175 grams of caster sugar, 3 eggs, and 200 grams of glacé cherries. Right, let's get baking. So to get us kicked off, we're going to start off with the cherries. So glacé cherries are essentially a candied cherry. So when you pour them out, they tend to be covered in a syrupy liquid. So what we're going to do here is we're going to cut the cherries into halves or thirds or quarters, however large you want them within the cake. We're then going to rinse them and dry them, so we don't really want the sticky solution on these. Now I like to use glacé cherries because these were what was in the cherry cakes that I had as a child. They tend to hold their structure a little bit more than a regular cherry as well, plus they're easier to get hold of at this time of the year. Feel free to use fresh cherries if you want to though. What you will find by using these cherries is the cake does tend to last a little bit longer, but if you've got hungry children like I have, that generally isn't an issue anyway. So onto the mixture itself. So we're going to take our unsalted butter here. Now this should be at room temperature. Unfortunately I didn't actually leave it out quite long enough, so it's a little bit hard here, but make sure it's nice and soft. We're going to add to this the caster sugar, and then we're essentially going to beat the two together. So we're going to cream the butter and the sugar together, making sure that it's nice and soft, it's nice and fluffy, and everything is incorporated. It's essentially the same way that you would make a buttercream maybe. Ordinarily I would use a mixer to do this, however I'm well aware that not everyone has a mixer and you don't need to buy the expensive equipment to be able to cook and bake, so I'm doing it by hand here. If you're a subscriber, welcome back. If you're not, why not give it a try? I've got tons of family friendly recipes that I want to share with you, lots of tips and tricks. Hopefully you'll find it really useful. I'd really appreciate it if you were to give the video a like. If you've got a comment, if you try the recipe, let me know how it went and I'll certainly get back to you. So that butter is looking nicely incorporated with the sugar. It's a little bit fluffier. So now we're going to add in our 3 eggs. Please try to use free-range eggs when you're purchasing your eggs. They are A, much tastier, and B, the chickens are so much better looked after. Right, so now the eggs are there, we're going to beat them into the mixture. Absolutely love baking cakes. I find it quite therapeutic. It's so much cheaper than purchasing cakes out. You might pay £3.50, £4 for a slice of cake in London. That's the entire cost of this cake. You want to try and make this as lump-free as possible. I actually switch from a spoon to a whisk for this because it's far better for the job. Again, I usually use a stand mixer for this, but absolutely works by hand as well. So there we go, that's looking much better. So next thing we're going to do is just go back to the glacé cherries. So if you can remember, we cut them up, we washed them, removed the syrup from them, and we dried them off. Now what we're going to do is take a good tablespoon of the flour that we're using in the recipe, and we're going to sprinkle that on top and give that a good mix around. Now this is a really good tip to help your cherries from sinking in the cake. If you don't do this, typically what you'll find is all the fruit sits right at the bottom of the cake. Okay, so on to the batter, and we're going to add the flour and all the dry ingredients in. So we've got the self-raising flour and we've got the salt there. And then the ground almonds. Ground almonds, if you've got a nut allergy, if you don't particularly like them, feel free to leave out, but you probably want to adjust your flour a little bit more. So we used 50 grams of almonds. Here you'd probably want to just increase your self-raising flour by another 40 to 50 grams. So the batter's looking really good now. I could probably sit here with a spoon and just eat the whole bowl of it, but instead we're going to add the cherries back in, and then we're going to give it one final mix. So make sure it's nicely incorporated. It does get a little bit stiff. I probably should have gone back to a spoon rather than sticking with the whisk here. There we go, this is looking great. Excellent, so now we're going to pop it into the cake tin. So for this we want to use a fairly deep round cake tin, probably about 15 to 18 centimeters wide. We're going to line that with greaseproof paper to stop it sticking. The best type of tins to use for this are springform tins. They're basically the ones that have a removable base. It just makes it really easy to take the cake out. So make sure we've got all the mixture in there. Make sure you fill in all of the gaps. And ideally what you would do is also hollow out the middle a little bit as well, so that it bakes evenly throughout. Great, there we go, looks good. And that is ready for the oven. So to cook this, we're going to make sure the oven is heated to 170 degrees centigrade or 325 Fahrenheit. And we're going to cook that for about between an hour and a quarter. And you'll know when it's done because you start to get a little bit of cracking on the top. As well as that, if you pop a skewer or a knife in, if it comes out clean, it's ready. And you can also see it's coming away from the edges there. That shows that you've got the structure of the cake ready. So, like I say, using springform tin is super easy because the edges just pop right off. Just need to peel off the greaseproof paper and then take it off the bottom of the base as well. But this is looking perfectly cooked. It's nice and strong. Like, this is a cake that is very easy to transport somewhere. So you could make this and take it out for a picnic or take it away with you, and you don't need to worry about it crumbling too much. Right, let's have a look at the inside of the cake. So cut yourself a nice wedge. This is smelling delicious, by the way. And there we go, we've got a perfectly cooked slice of cherry cake. We can see some cherries in there. The crumb is nice, there's good moisture. This is absolutely delicious. It really is easy to bake cakes. This is a recipe that I guarantee you will not fail you. So why not give it a try? Let me know how it goes. I really appreciate you making it all the way to the end of the video. Hope you found it interesting. Hope you give it a go. I'll be back with more great recipes soon, but until then, take care.